who's back. I feel like this is when you see someone that you've kind of purposely ignored and you see them in public and you have to be like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to see you. I've been so busy. I know we've been fine, but like I feel bad that I haven't seen you. That's kind of how this is. I'm sorry. Something happened. I don't even know what got me off the podcast, the YouTube train. It just was derailed and it never came back. And I know a lot has happened in life in the last few months. I think maybe September. At least September was my last book haul, I think, or October. I definitely didn't do November or December. So at least the last 2 months I've been completely MIA. So much has happened. I don't even know if I want to share or if it will just come out in stories later. Also, my voice sounds a little raspy. I was practicing my opera songs just before this and before my shower because my parents spent a fortune on voice lessons for me, and I feel bad that I've lost my ability to sing opera. I'm like, why can I sing Italian operas at, age 18, 19 for no other reason than enjoyment? And now I'm like 23 where there's like professional opera singers that are my age that, now I'm losing my ability. So every once in a while I check in with myself, make sure I still got that in me. Take a little video of it. I don't have it in me, especially not now because I've been sick for, I think today's like the 17th day, which is very normal for me. I would say I'm tracking it this year, 2026. Part of my New Year's resolutions, I'm tracking my sick days, because I'm guessing I spend around like 100 days a year sick. And people tell me like they don't believe me when I say that, but I'm telling you, I get sick very easily for a very long time, so my voice is a little messed up. But this sickness has been actually fantastic. I haven't been like completely obliterated by it, because usually I get sick and I'm like knocked out for 2 or 3 weeks. But this, I'm functioning. It's just like, oh, my nose is a little runny. And I never just have like a little runny nose. It's usually just me like absolutely zonked. So that's fantastic. I am very excited about that. Just a little frog in my throat. And I got a new job, which I'm very concerned because I don't have any benefits or sick days or vacation days yet, hopefully soon. But on the topic of being sick all the time, I always thought, since like I've been in high school, I'm like, what happens when I get a job and I get sick all the time? Like, I can't take half the month off because I'm sick. So maybe as I'm getting older, I'm actually getting like a better immune system. I hope. I don't know if that's happening, but I've never been like mildly sick before. I'm always completely destroyed by my sicknesses. And that's why I'm tracking it this year, because I would love to scientifically calculate what percent mathematically calculate how much sick time I'm spending in the year, because I'm concerned that I don't get sick days. So we'll see how that plays out. But hallelujah, I have a full-time job. Wow. I spent so much of this year being concerned about getting a job after graduating college, and I have a job, and it's like, what do I do? What do I do now? I just go to work, and it's like, I don't even talk to anyone from college, which is really sad. Let me take a sip of my warm water. We're gonna get used to this because of my throat, okay? Pause, please. Okay. I haven't talked to a single person from school. It's December, so it's like 6 months after I graduated college, and I definitely had friends at school. We didn't really hang out too much outside of class, because I'm like weird about making friends. But in class, we were all friends. We saw each other every day. We hung out. Like, we were just in school together, you know? And I especially remember my last week of class being really fun because I kind of was like grieving school being over, and it kind of like deked me out because I was like, I thought it was going to be my last class. And then I was like bawling my eyes out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm done with school. This is it, where it's over. And then it was like, it wasn't the last class. So then the last class, I actually got to have the time of my life. I gave a presentation about rainbows. I learned every fun fact in the world about rainbows. So fascinating. And there's actually not that much to learn about them. But I did my meteorology presentation. I remember just like feeling good, looking good. I was like I had my friends take photos of me doing it. So like I have that. And anyway, graduation was fun. Graduation happened. And then it was just like never really spoke to anyone again, which I don't have social media. I've made 2 videos about the downsides of deleting social media, and I'm like, if I had social media right now, I'm pretty sure I would still have those friendships, or they would have been better friendships because they could have been like in person and online and not just like when I'm in class. So I'm a little bummed about that, and I can definitely like reach back out to people, and I'm sure that will like come around in time, but I am feeling a little lonely, just like going to work. It's dark when I get up, and it's dark when I come home because it's winter. So that's been like a little tough. But at the same time, I like always see these phrases and little quotes and stuff that I love, and one of them is just, well, that's like literally the premise of this podcast, so you guys know that, except I never actually do videos about them. The whole point of me making this podcast was because I latch onto these little ideas and I want to elaborate on them, and I've completely missed the mark of that this entire year. So actually, let me write this down because I was hoping to kind of like go through some New Year's resolutions in this podcast episode, and I'm thinking one of them will be to actually make those videos about those ideas, because it's hard for me to articulate like why they are so life-changing to me, and they're constant new ones. And I will talk about 2 of them tonight, but as I sat down for this episode, I always have this feeling of like, where's this gonna go? Like, there's no structure to this, and I'm wondering if part of the reason why I was wondering, just like prior to this episode a little bit, if the reason that I've been kind of so lax on the actual podcast part of this, because it's easy for me to sit down and make a reading recap, right? It's easy for me to sit down, write a poem, share the poem. Now, I don't want to put my poetry out there, you know? That is not the goal here. But I don't have a direction. I don't have like a set plan in place for the podcast side of Elizabeth Elaborates. And even like with the YouTube side, I'm like, should I just fully switch to like environmental science? Because I feel like there's not too much out there, and it's like a huge growing field and growing major for people in college right now. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I could be on the wave with that in terms of like channel growth or whatever, but I'm like, do I really want to like pigeonhole into that, or just sit down and like be myself? So anyway, maybe 2026 I give some direction to the podcast and actually commit to making videos and actually posting them, because sometimes I sit down and record like a 30-minute episode and I'm like, it was 30 minutes, that wasn't good, and then I get like psyched out and I delete it. So stop being a loser in 2026. Let's put that on the list. But yeah, so can I even remember which phrase I was gonna think about here? Oh, I think it was like, I see it a lot on my Pinterest actually, which is where I get a lot of my phrases, and nobody make fun of me and say that I'm like a Tumblr girl. I know I get these little things off Pinterest, but I do actually get them out of books and poetry and real life too. So I'm not a total loser. But it was just like the things that you are struggling with now are the things that you once prayed for. Like the problems that you have today were once the prayers that you prayed. Or the problems you have today are the prayers you prayed yesterday. Some like things along those lines were like, I am a little bit bummed to wake up at 5:30 a.m. for the rest of my life until I die, working 40 hours a week. That just doesn't sound like, my number one choice of how I'd spend my life. However, zoom back to me being in like August after graduation, literally like weight on my shoulders, like weight on my chest. I need to get a job. I'm so worried about the future. What's going to happen with my life? Am I stupid for majoring in environmental science? What the heck do I do with that? Do I have to move? I don't want to move, but I do want to move. And I'm stuck in the like region beta paradox, and I can't escape, but I can't escape because I'm aware. Like, it was not a fun time mentally this year in terms of like stress. And I really want to be like careful with that as I reflect on this year, because every December I get super reflective on everything and like, what did I do this year? What do I change next year? How do I become better? What do I continue? Where did I miss the mark on my resolutions? Where did I, knock it out of the park? And, I'm going to rope this other phrase in here because I was thinking about it a lot today and this past couple weeks. It's just a Sylvia Plath quote. I'm a victim of introspection. And I have that on my wall of quotes, which if you're watching the video, this wall has grown and blossomed, and I'm so proud of it. It's beautiful. The wall over there that you can't see has a lot of index cards that I just like have all these little quotes on. And just one of them is I'm a victim of introspection, because it just reminds me, like, I actually have no idea what the context of that quote was. Nor do I wish to, because I think sometimes the art, like the beauty of poetry or music or books is like everyone sees things from a different angle. Every phrase, every idea makes sense to someone in their own life's context. And I don't want to know what the true intended context or like point of that quote was, because I'm like, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but the way I'm misunderstanding it makes sense to me, and it really hits home. So like, ignorance is bliss in that sense. And I'm taking another sip. So I'm a victim of introspection, and it just kind of reminds me that, like, don't get so up in your own head, Lizzie, that you're creating issues for yourself. Because sometimes, like, I want to know myself. So like the past 2 years, I've been really working on like, who am I? What do I like? What do I not like? And that could be like little things. Like, you know what? I'm a texture person with food. Didn't really ever occur to me now. Like, but I am. Okay? And I'm also a germaphobe. Do I let those two things dictate my life? And do I let like other people know that and then they think I'm weird? No, I keep it inside. But I'm constantly thinking about germs. And I'm like constantly kind of anxious about stuff. And just being real with myself and just being like, there's no right or wrong. There's no like, I want to be this and I wish I was that. It's just figure out what I am. And in 5 years, when I have like, 40 bullet points of who I am, I can like decide what I'm comfortable with and uncomfortable with and change. And like, I believe you can teach an old dog new tricks. I have my whole life ahead of me. Things are going to grow and change. It's going to be different. And like, that's a beautiful thing. But in the process of getting to know myself, let's not be too reflective that it's kind of creating issues, because sometimes I just get so up in my own head. And like, that's what I want to be like. I don't want to be like, oh, this year I struggle with my mental health, because I do. And that's true. But maybe that's only true for like the last 6 weeks. And the whole rest of the year, I remember being like stoked on the new year because I really, really struggled with mental health last year in like new ways that I never did before. And I was like psyched to get out of 2025. Nope, 2024. I always get confused with the years at this point. It's just crazy. So I was hyped to get out of 2024 because I was like, I'm leaving this behind. And 2025 came January, winter, like I was feeling good. Like I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I was feeling good. And, I was like really focused on my last semester and working and just like being locked in. And then, yeah, like in the summer I was stressed. But it's not like my whole life was taken over by that. It was just I was stressed about finding a job. And that's like a very specific niche thing to feel stressed about. I was stressed because I'm graduating college. The whole structure of my life is changing. And there's a lot of unknowns. So I had a lot of fear of the unknown. But like my mental health was pretty good. Like I worked out. I went on fun camping trips. I met new people. I made new friends. And it's easy for me to forget that happened, 4, 5, 6 months later. But that's true. I made a lot of fun friends, whether they last for a time or they last for a lifetime. No one knows as of yet. But I had a lot of free time. I worked 20 hours at my internship. That was it. 20 hours. So I gotta sleep in. I gotta enjoy myself. I gotta make my own hours. No one was babysitting me. I always joked around like I'm an orphan here. Like you guys don't know what I do. You're not even my bosses, the people in my office. And I had so much time to just like chill and be happy and enjoy life. And then it was still a thing. Like don't be a victim of introspection because I was kind of freaking out about like, what is life after college? What do I do with myself? My whole world is flipped upside down. And I just got to a point where I was like, I don't have to figure out everything about life. I have to make one decision. That one decision is pick a job. Get a job. And when I was like, hey, I'm not going to move, that eliminated a lot of other stress. Found my job, and that was it. It's just the next step. It wasn't this whole restructure my life, everything is changing. That's true, but that's all background noise because there's one decision at hand. You got to take one step, one foot in front of the other. So I'm trying to be like that type of mindset as I reflect on this year because I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to victimize myself and like be my own worst enemy, which I definitely am. Like no one in my life hates me as much as I hate myself. And I'm pretty sure, speaking objectively, because I know what reality is, but what like the voice in my own head tells me is a different thing. Like I know objectively, no one hates me. I am pretty confident that there's no one that truly hates me and like wishes ill on me. There's definitely people that I think if we ran into each other, we'd be like, oh snap. We've gone through some stuff. We've got some rifts. Maybe we didn't end on a great note, but like those people are not sitting around thinking about me anymore. Like that's done and gone. That's old news. And if they're normal people, if they're normal people, they stop thinking about it too because they don't want it to bother them. And they're like, oh, that's Lizzie. She means nothing to me, And like, no one's sitting around thinking about me. So why am I every day of my life thinking about how much I hate myself? And like, why do I genuinely think that I should just like deserve to be like dragged through the dirt and left on the side of the road to like die? Like, why is that how I feel about myself when no one in my life feels that way about me? And I was like, I literally almost called my friend and was like, please tell me that you don't hate me. I'm like, I am actually psycho, like genuinely psycho this month because I think being honest with myself is making me like realize all these things, and then like you got to deal with that, you know? You can't just be like, you have to find these things out about yourself, and that is not always a fun process. Like, you can't just find it out and not do anything with that information, because you will be crushed under the weight of your findings. You know, like, I have to actively be like, all right, admit we have a problem, let's do something about it. What do I do with this information? So I'm in kind of like that. I'm picking up all this information. I'm a little like weighed down by it right now. But it's gonna be okay, you know? Like, I really don't have anything else to say except like stop thinking too much, because it's starting to cause issues in my life. So my big phrase right now is, don't be a victim of introspection. Remember that it can also cause issues and it can cause growth, but I'm trying to like turn that into growth. And be proud of myself. And I want to this year, another little resolution, which I'm going to add to the list, is just have something to show for. Like, actually produce something, make something, put it out in the world. Like, I did this with the podcast, but I really want to write more essays and get them published. And I know some people that publish in some places that I want to be published in, and they're not like the New York Times. Okay, I'm not saying like put me on the best 100 books of the year. You know, I'm not even writing a book yet. I'm just writing little things. But like, actually do something. Like, put myself out there, because I'm turning 23 this year. That seems so old. Like, I know I'm not old, and I have so many friends that are so much older than me, but genuinely, I cannot comprehend that I'm 23. It's like my sister feels like she's 23 and I'm 20, or like 17 actually. I feel like I'm 17 still. But I'm 23, and I feel like I look out in the world and there's like all types of different professional people that are my age, or that like were doing stuff when they were in their 20s, and I'm like, why do I feel like I'm too young to do stuff? Like, hello, I'm here. This is the prime of my life. So I'm going to be like producing and having something to show for, and being proud of myself, and being like, hey, I wrote this, but I actually sent it to someone for review or for publishing, or, you know, whatever. I don't know. So that's it. That's my next resolution, I think. And I was thinking of it because I'm feeling okay right now. I always get a little out of breath on these podcasts. I definitely need to slow down my talking, but I always am scared of these episodes, and I'm like mildly anxious every time I do something for this channel. So that's not cool. I wish I was just like chill about this and I could just not have any concerns, but that's not how it is. So I keep going because I want to push past that and grow, I guess. But I don't tell anyone about this podcast. I don't tell anyone about the YouTube channel. I am actually kind of like mortified at the idea of someone finding it, which I don't really know why. But I just want to be able to like put my name on something and be like, yeah, that's mine. I did that. And like tell people what I'm doing, because I don't know, I just am always trying to like erase myself from history. I'm erasing myself from the narrative. And I'm like, why am I doing that? Like, I'm actually worthy of stuff, and like worthy of good things, and worthy of recognition, you know? Not that I need to be freaking famous, but like I don't need to just try to like hide away in a cave. So I'm trying to like crawl out this year. I'm trying to crawl out a little bit. And yeah, like I am proud of myself, and I have to tell myself that. So I started to make a list like 2 years ago of things I was proud of, and I put like 2 things on it for the entire year. So we're like definitely recycling some New Year's resolutions, like be proud of myself. Um, on this whiteboard here, there's like 10 more phrases that you can't see. One of the big ones, I'm worthy of good things, because I genuinely don't believe that. So I'm just going to repeat that for the next 30 years until I believe it. Yeah. Sip time. But this time I'm sipping on my Stanley cup. So I got my Stanley for Christmas. I've never had like a trendy water bottle. And I'm pretty sure I'm like 5 years late to the Stanley thing, or maybe not 5 years, maybe less. I also got an Awala for Christmas. So I went from having one Nalgene water bottle that I bought in like 2018 maybe earlier. Like I've had it all through high school. So it's been a long time. And I was always like, oh, these people like overconsumption on their water bottles. Like, why do you have 15 cups in your house? But now I have a Stanley and I actually love it. And I'm like, look at the color. It's like this peachy, orangey pink. It's kind of like not what it's showing up on the camera, but my sister got it for me. And then my brother got the Awala because she's a Stanley girl and he's an Awala guy. So now I am all of the above because I'm still a Nalgene girl. But I feel so trendy and cool with that. Cause it's just Christmas just passed, and we had it at our house, which we'd never had it at our house before because my grandpa passed away, and it's usually at his house. So we had it at our house. It was definitely weird. We made it through. We did cry as a family at one point, just thinking about grandpa, but we made it through Christmas, and we made it through Thanksgiving too, which was good, because we buried him the day before Thanksgiving, so that was not cool. But I feel like that's why I'm trying to be like so actually pointedly thankful and happy about things, because like overall I don't feel great right now, and I'm like momentarily happy, but then I know like my whole disposition right now is just like not that. But I'm trying to be like, I am so thankful for this specific little thing. Little things, big things. I'm thankful for my big family that is all supportive of us, but I'm like, I am thankful that I have a fantastic pen in front of me and a perfect notebook, and they like glide when I write, like literally anything about being alive is a blessing. And I was like crying myself to sleep the other night, which I was reading a book. I'm like out of breath still. Oh my gosh. I was reading in a book the other day, or like a couple weeks ago, and the person was like, I was crying myself to sleep, which crying yourself to sleep isn't even a real thing, because you just cry and then you're laying in bed and then you just fall asleep. So it's normal, but it's just dumb because you just cried and then fell asleep. And I was like, all right, accurate, because you don't like fall asleep with tears coming out of your eyes. But I was in bed crying because I was just feeling like totally worn out and like defeated and kind of depressed. And I was thinking about the sun rising, because I love seeing the sunrise. I was never up this early where like I saw the sun coming up, and people ask that, like, are you a sunrise or a sunset person? And I'm like, who has ever seen the sunrise? Like why would you ever see the sunrise? So anyway, this job, the last like month or two, I think I'm like 6 weeks in, I've seen the sunrise like every day. And not that it's always like magnificent and beautiful and bright clouds or whatever, but like I remember waking up the first day for the job and just like walking out of the garage, and I was like, whoa, sunrise. Like I I've never seen that. And I definitely have, but it just is like such a crazy experience. And now I get to see it every day. So I was laying in bed thinking about that, and I was like, the sun is coming up tomorrow. And like, I am going to wake up too, because I know that the sun is coming up. Because every day on my way to work, I pass this reservoir, and I look to my right, and I see these beautiful pink clouds and orange clouds, and the sun is just like not up yet, but the light is coming up. And then like 2 minutes later, I get on the highway, I start going up the mountain a little bit, and right as I hit my exit to get on like the last turn, like the road that my job is on, just like 10 miles down the road, as I come around that corner, I look in my rearview mirror every time, and the sun is like just up, and it's just like breaking through the horizon. The clouds are insane. They're bright pink, they're bright orange, bright yellow, and it's just like every day I come around that turn and I look in my mirror to like merge, and I'm just like blown away by the sunrise. Sunset. And it's just like a magical moment, because I get that first little sneak peek over the reservoir, which is stunning. And then every time I like, literally my anticipation builds as I get on this big highway turnaround, and I'm like, it's coming, boom, sunrise. And like, that brings so much joy to my day, just like seeing the sun come up. And I was just thinking, like, every day the sun rises, and like, it actually never quits, because we're just rotating in turn with each other. So the sun literally never gives up. Sometimes I see it, sometimes I don't. And I was like, I'm never going to give up either. Like, I will literally rise every day with the sun. I will choose to get up, because I remember like being in bed, wishing I wouldn't have to wake up in the morning, and like praying that I would like die in my sleep or whatever. And I'm like, how crazy is that? Like, how crazy am I for that? That's not who I am and like who I was. And then like just going through all this grief with my grandpa, I'm like, how can I literally be like begging someone to stay alive and like stay with me, and then as soon as he's gone, why do I want to die now? Like, how ridiculous is that? So just like silencing the voices in my head and being like, there's no like right and wrong way to grieve. And I feel like it's a very understandable feeling to be like completely gloomy and just wanting to like kind of just crawl up and just, I don't know. Grief is so weird. Like, I'm not good at it, I can't even articulate how I feel. But it just struck me, because I was like thinking about the poem where the sun is like rage against the dying of the light, and I think it's called like, it's like rage against death or something. But I'm like, how can I be like wishing that for someone else, and being that person where it's like, no, like rage against the dying of the light, like stay with me, you can't leave. But then it's like, just because I'm all sad and depressed and grieving, it's like, why don't I want to wake up in the morning anymore? It's like, what a double standard, hypocritical thing to say or to feel. But I know that's just like me being in grief and like being sad and being overtired and so many other things, because it's not just the one thing on my plate. It's like, that's one very bad thing on my plate, but there's also like 3 other small little bad things on my plate, and then there's some good, and there's some like mediocre and normal things about life, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, my plate's too full, and that's just life. So I get overwhelmed pretty easily with stuff. Like, I like just not being super busy and like not having stuff to do all the time. But it's been like the last couple months where I just have not been online. I guess that's a lot of what's been going on. And yes, some fantastic, awesome, major things, like my first job after graduation. How cool is that? And what a blessing it is, because I know a lot of my friends don't have jobs. And, I was saying that earlier, like, I don't speak with my college friends that much, but I know they also don't have jobs. So like I know they're not able to have like the security and the fast paced timeline that I had. Like that's not lost on me. Every day I'm like, what a blessing it is to have a job, and what a blessing it is to be tired and wake up. And yes, I'm sad that it's dark when I wake up and dark when I go to bed, but like, or get home from work. But hey, we made it to the solstice. The days are getting longer. Yesterday, I saw the sunrise on my way to work again because there was a few days where I couldn't catch it with the timeline. But it's happening again. The days are going to get warmer. I'm going to have a little bit of a tan. I'm going to be outside. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, how am I going to get through the next couple months? And, like, what's my next step? What's my plan? So my plan is make some resolutions, make some goals, because like I just want to go to the gym 10 times in January. That is all. Because 15 is every other day, and that's insane. But then 10 days is like 2 or 3 times a week. I'll be fine. And then February, I'm going to start running so that in March, when it's actually a little bit warm, I can run and then lift. And then April, May, June, July, whatever, summer, I'm going to be fit and strong and jacked. And I say that every year. And I'm kind of in this cycle of being like fat and jacked and fat and jacked. Well, not fat. I'm not like fat, but skinny fat, I guess. Ugh. My opera singing really fried my voice. So I'm looking at my notebook because I wrote a bunch of random stuff down of things I wanted to say, and I actually said most of it, and I'm super proud of that. It kind of feels like I'm gonna claim the energy that this is the first podcast of the new year, okay? Because I feel like we just closed a chapter, and then this is like chapter 2. Chapter 2 begins now, and I automatically renewed my subscription to my podcast thing so that I wouldn't even have a question of like, oh, should I stop? And I definitely considered stopping because I was like, I did my thing, but why not keep going? I just am like, I'm a little bit of a giver-upper. Like, I'm trying to think of what happened the last time I tried to record an episode, because something stupid happened where like the battery died, or like I needed to plug in my laptop, like a very low barrier, and I was like, all right, fine, I'm giving up, I'm not doing it anymore, this is stupid, because like I have to literally like get my gusto up. I don't even know if that's like a saying, but I have to like, oh, I'm gonna do this, so I do it. But then like if anything comes in my way, it's so easily knocks out the momentum, and I just lose all of that. So something stupid happened where like I had to get a new battery, and then I think I just gave up and I never posted anything. Or like sometimes I'll record a whole episode, I said this before, but there will be like one little thing that's wrong with the audio, and like I don't want to start over, and then I'm like listening to other things that I love and the quality is trash, and I don't even care, and I don't notice, and no one else cares. I'm like, why do I hold myself to such a high standard of perfection when I am literally just learning how to do this? So I don't know where that came from. I think I'm trying to encourage myself. I'm getting real sleepy, so I'm gonna go to bed. It's Sunday. Tomorrow morning is Sunday. So we're doing Christmas 2.0 with my dad's side, and hopefully that goes well. I'm always a little concerned, and things are a little crazy sometimes with my dad's side, but usually we're all good. So I'm excited. Hopefully it's fine. I'm gonna get some sleep. It was so good to hang out with you, to chat, to get back on this. I am excited about 2026. I think it's going to be a good year. I feel like I finally am building a little bit of confidence and like a surety of who I am. So Elizabeth Elaborates coming at you in 2026. Love you guys. Here's a little heart for you. And I'll see you in the next one.